Hey, what's up and welcome back, treasure hunters. Today I have more thrift store finds I want to show you. Got some really good deals and some great items that I'll be able to flip for a profit. So over the last couple weeks, I've found some pretty cool items. I actually haven't gone to the thrift store that much in the last week because it's getting the kids back in school and all of that. I still found a good amount of things that I think I can flip for a profit. So let's first start with this piece I got here. This is an older, I don't know if it's technically antique or not. It might be a little bit newer, like more like 40s or 30s. But this is a very solid metal. It's got like a bronze finish, but usually these things are cast iron. And this is actually a bookend. And I did look this up. It does come with another one that has like a different quote on from a different author. I only found this one. It was the only one they had. Caught my eye about this. Anytime I see an older looking, very solid metal piece, especially like cast iron and stuff, it does hold value, and a lot of times you can get them for pretty cheap. I picked this up at Goodwill for about $3. It does have a quote here from Gianna, I guess. It's pretty well made and hefty. You could also use this as a doorstop, but yeah, these are meant to be bookends. I saw, the pair of these selling. This one's actually in really good condition. It's still got a really good color to it, and there's nothing, it looks newer. It is stamped here, H.N. Parks. I don't know if that is somebody who owned it or, because I did search H.N. Parks and really didn't come up with anything. I think this might be a Hubley piece, but either way, for $3, I can definitely resell this for at least 50 to 75, but probably a little bit more. I'll price it for to start, because I did see pairs of these in the $200 range. Next thing I picked up is this piece of studio pottery. It's a studio pottery bowl. And what caught my eye about this is right when I saw it, I knew who the artist was, just because I have sold a piece of his work before, and he's got very recognizable style to the painting and the artwork he does on his pieces. Obviously, pretty recognizable mark also. And secondly, he was a Cleveland-based artist. So this was done by William Brouillard, and he's well known. I think he still makes pottery, I'm pretty sure. And it's just this style. This is actually pretty tame to what he usually does. Like usually he'll have a complete, like a large, like 16-inch plate or bowl or something, and the entire thing will be covered in artwork and everything. This one just has a lot of white space left, but it's still really cool. I picked this up at Goodwill for $1.33, and his work, depending on the complexity and the artwork on the pieces, I've seen some of his work sell for like over $500. This one I'd probably price to start like around 150 and take offers for less, just because it is, it just has these like little spirals. Usually he has like faces or skeletons or, just very elaborate artwork. And this is pretty basic in his standards. So either way, it's in good condition, no chips or anything like that. And for only $1, I'd be happy to, get anything over $75. Here's the next thing I picked up, and this is a handmade, like hand-blown wine glass. And what caught my eye about this, you could just tell it's not uniform. Like these little decorations here, I don't know if you'll be able to see, like it's just not uniform the way it's made. So you could tell that it's handmade. And when I picked it up, the pontil scar here, you can see that, it's a handmade piece. There's no signature or anything, but it is really nicely made, like these little ribs in the glass. You can also see like there's a bubble. That's another giveaway that, you know, it's handmade. I found this at Goodwill, and this was also only like $1. I have no clue who made it, but seeing that it is handmade and it's got some good decoration, I don't know if this is made by an amateur or, you know, somebody that does this more often, but they only had this one glass. And I thought it was pretty cool, especially for $1. I don't really know what I'd price this for. I'd probably have to find something similar, but even if I got like 25 or 30 bucks, that'd be fine. So this next thing I got here, you can't see any signature on it. And what caught my eye about this was the coloring in it. I always take a closer look at things like this, especially in the older frame. You can see, you know, it's just older paper, and, you know, the way it's got this to hang and everything else. I would just take a second look at these kind of things. But if you look closely, you can see that this is hand colored. It's not printed. And so I definitely thought this was an etching. And I got this at Savers for $1.99. So even if I was wrong, it's only $2. But when I got home, I took it out of the frame, and sure enough, it wasn't etching and it was signed. It's just covered up by this matting here. I could not decipher the signature. I did try to look, you know, what this might be, and this is actually the Arc de Triomphe. That's really all I found out. I don't know who the artist is or anything, but it's really detailed and well made and really nicely colored and everything. Hopefully I can figure out who the artist is, but either way, you know, this is older, and, you know, just seeing that it's very like skillfully done. $2 is definitely a good price to pay for something like this. I really have no idea what I would be able to sell this for, but I would think at least I'd be able to sell it in the, you know, $50 range, but I think it'd probably be a bit more if I could figure out who the artist is. Here's the next piece I picked up, and this is also an etching. This is an antique etching in more of a modern frame, and I picked this up at Savers also, and I think it was like $2.99. I didn't even bother looking up, you know, who the artist was or anything, because I'm like, I looked on the back and it says John Leach, and it has a date of 1854, and then it says steel engraving and hand colored. So seeing all that information right on the back, for it being $2.99, I'm like, well, this thing has to be worth a decent amount of money. It's, you know, from 1854, and all the information I need is right there. So I just, you know, put it in my cart, and that was that. Then when I got home, I checked out, like, you know, thinking it'd be worth at least a couple $100. John Leach, like, original, you know, mid 19th century pieces were selling for like $35 or $40, which was kind of surprising to me. But either way, I mean, I only paid $3 for it. I could still make a profit off of it, but it was a little bit surprising that the prices were that low, especially seeing that a lot of these like horse, like fox hunt type style things usually bring a decent amount of money. Yeah, for whatever reason, they must be, you know, must be a surplus of them, or I really don't know. Either way, $3. I'll probably post this because you know, on Etsy, I get free shipping. So I'll probably just post this for $50, see if I can sell it. And if not, you know, I'll probably sell it during a sale or something. So for whatever reason, I've been finding a lot of smaller pieces of art, but this is another piece that I found. This one I found at Goodwill, and I found it on, you know, one of the carts. They moved out, you know, sitting there ready to be put on the shelves. This is on the bottom, along with another piece I'm going to show you in a second. This is also an engraving, hand colored, and just obviously of a sailboat. You can tell it's older just by the frame. You know, the nails are older, rusted. It's how it's set in there and stuff. So there's some like water damage here to the matting, but it didn't get on the actual piece of art. And again, you could tell that it's an etching. I don't know. Hopefully you can see but you can see that indent, and that's from the actual plate being pressed down, and then the coloring and stuff is all, just done afterwards. This is signed in pencil. I just don't know what the signature says. I searched all sorts of things trying to match the signature and the style and stuff, and I found nothing. I haven't posted this anywhere. I haven't, tried to get any help figuring out who made it yet. So I picked this up for like $4. I think either way, I should be able to sell it in the $40 or $50 range without knowing who sold it or who made it. Hopefully I can uncover that, because I have sold, smaller hand-colored etchings like this by, artists, like more well-known artists, for like a couple $100. So who knows? We'll figure out who did this, hopefully, and then I'll have a better idea of what I could sell it for. Here's another small piece of art that I found, and this is a pen and watercolor piece, just of a yellow rose here. And what caught my eye about this one is the style, and the signature is Sue Chappie. I found multiple pieces from her. She was very local to the area I live in and pretty well known in the area. And a lot of her work was done in like the 70s and 80s. And then on the back, anytime I see like a little folder with the papers tucked in, it's always a good sign, because you pull these out, and this is just about a little thing about her and a certificate of authenticity, which is always good to have from the gallery. So this is Rose and Buds, and this is dated 1982, pen and ink and watercolor, Susan Chappie. So it gives you all the information you need right there. It's always great to find stuff like that on the back. I don't really know what this is painted on. It almost looks like it's painted on it doesn't look like paper to me, but it could be a different kind of paper, or it could almost be like a thin piece of wood or something. I'm not really sure, but it's nicely done, nicely colored in and stuff. Again, I found tons of her work so far, both, limited lithograph type stuff and actual like pieces, original pieces. Everything I've seen, her original stuff, sells pretty well, price wise. So probably price this for around $100 and see where it goes from there. This is actually one of two pieces that I found by her. Here's the other Susan Chappie piece that I found. And this one I picked up for, I think, like $5.19 or $11 or whatever it was. It's dated 1975. This looks like a more like a earlier piece from her. I'm not exactly sure what building this is, but she did do a lot of work that is local to the area. Like there is an old, like a small castle called Squire's Castle that is pretty close to where I live, and it's well known, like people know Squire's Castle. And I found a piece, like a sketch she did of Squire's Castle, and then there's other like landmarks around the area, the city I live in, that she has painted or drawn, and find a lot of that. So I'm not exactly sure what building this is, but probably something in the area. And again, I picked this up for $5, and I'd probably price this one around $100 too. I might even put her work that I find on buy, sell, trade, just because it is more well known by the people that live around here, and I might have a better shot at selling it, using buy, sell, trade and getting in front of people that, recognize the landmarks and the buildings and everything else that she paints. So this next piece I actually found with that boat etching in the bottom of one of the carts at Goodwill. And this was priced for $5.15 too. This is, I didn't know it at the time, but this is a portrait of President William McKinley, and he was from Ohio originally, so that makes sense. It is, I'm pretty sure that this is an oil painting. When I first saw it, I wasn't exactly sure. I thought it might be some kind of print. And then I looked up, what's the earliest like canvas type prints? Like when were they made? Whatever. And that they were actually like made all the way back in the 1850s. I don't know how, they weren't very common, but it does have nails holding the canvas. So it's definitely an older piece. I don't think it's like antique or anything, just given the wood and the canvas still looks fairly clean, but I'm really not sure. I don't see a signature on it. I can see like brush strokes and stuff, which kind of threw me off in like the background, but then the actual, his suit and everything else different. I don't know. This piece just confused me a lot, but for $5.15, I'm pretty sure this is just an oil painting portrait of the president. I really don't know what this could be worth, especially seeing that I don't see a signature. So I can't really attribute it to any kind of artist. I'd probably say that, this is maybe painted in the 30s or 40s. But either way, for $5, I'll definitely pick up something like this every time that isn't older, very well done. I mean, it's very nicely painted. So we'll see. I'm going to have to get some help on figuring out a price for this. Still, I love finding old oil paintings on canvas like this. So this is the third thing that I found on that same cart in the bottom shelf. I found 3 pieces of art that were all sitting there, which doesn't happen often, but it's always awesome when it does. I got this also for $5.15. And this is also a hand-colored etching. This is done by Rosalind Rose. It is signed in pencil down here. It also has a stamp, Chinese stamp there, and it is titled Field Patterns 2. It's in, the frame isn't that great. I think it's almost plastic. It feels like plastic to me. But the back, usually when I see hanging instructions, I just ignore the piece because, it's probably by a decorative company and stuff. This did have an older Ethan Allen sticker. So I knew it was an actual etching, and it is numbered 15 out of 150 in the middle. So I just did a quick search. I could read Rosalind Rose pretty easily and found that, she was actually a listed artist. She had stuff that sold. Prices were anywhere from $150 to $400, $450. Definitely scooped this up right away. And I'll probably price this in the $200 range because it's not that large and the frame isn't that great. And see if I can sell it. And if not, then I'll drop it down a bit, but still good find for only $5. Here's the next piece I found. I got this at a Savers for $3.99. Caught my eye right away because I've sold a piece of this artist's work before. And her name is Gianna Marino. It is signed down here. And as soon as I saw this, it's a recognizable style. Plus, it's very bright colored. So when you're looking at a bunch of paintings and prints and stuff that kind of look the same, that's what happens most of the time when I'm looking through artwork. This definitely jumps out with the coloring and stuff. This one's dated 2006. It's a Brazilian, some kind of flower. Can't really read what she wrote, but really nicely done, detailed, and colorful. I sold the last piece, which was pretty much the same size, just a different flower, and I sold it for around $100. So I'll probably price this in the same price range, and then accept any offers that are a little bit less. Here's the next thing I found. I got this for I think $5 or so. It was at Goodwill. Again, this caught my eye right away just because I do have another piece by the same artist. This is a photograph by Klug. It's signed, and it's Shakespeare's house in Stratford. Just a fine art photograph. And then obviously on the back, anytime I see more information, this is just a kind of a certificate from Klug Photography, Fort Collins, Colorado, all of that information. I have the other piece, which I think is about the same size and the same size photo. And I have it priced online for, $75. So I'll just price this at the same and see if I can sell it. But it's in good condition. Frame isn't all that great, but it's a more modern piece, so it's not a big deal. So here's the last piece I'm going to show you today. And this is a hand-pulled colograph that I found at Goodwill, and it was actually half off. I think it was priced for like $11.99 or something, or 11 something. So I got it for half off because it was a certain color tag or whatever. Caught my eye about this, obviously, is just the style, the matting with the circular cutout and everything. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there is like a texture to this. I'm not exactly sure how a colograph is made. When you look up close, you can definitely see a texture to everything. This is titled Rising Ridge, and it was signed Bowden, and dated 1984. I just did a search when I got home and found that this is Sandra Bowden, and she did all sorts of Christian type artwork, like biblical type stuff and different landscapes and all of that. So I thought this was super cool. Anytime I see a frame like this, I found a whole bunch, since I've been thrifting, for whatever reason, these types of frames that are kind of rounded but colored in this square nature I found a whole bunch of really nice art in this type of frame. So anytime I see a frame like this, I always double check what kind of art's inside. So this is a really cool piece. Her work, these types of landscapes, I found she has a website. She still does work. I didn't find this exact piece. It is numbered out of 100. It was like the framed circular version of this was selling for on her website for like $480 or similar pieces. So I'll probably price this in the $400 range and then knock it down as time goes on. But still a really cool find and really unique and nicely done piece. So thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you. Hope you enjoyed these treasures that I found over the last couple weeks. If you have any questions, just drop a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do have another video that I'm posting soon, and it is on auction finds. I stumbled across an auction, and you will not believe the stuff that I picked up and the prices that I got it for. Really crazy, all from one auction. So stay tuned for that video. It should be dropped shortly after this one. So anyways, with that being said, I thank you all, and I hope you have the best of luck treasure hunting and finding those pieces that you can sell for a profit.